Hey there, Lisa here. Welcome to my channel. I hope you'll join me in my love of crafting and DIYs and hit that subscribe button. This video is part of the Winter Wonderland Collaboration hosted by Shawnie at Glitzy Stitches Home DIY and Tami at Happiness Created. Their channels as well as the playlist will be linked in my description box. Be sure to check it all out. For this first DIY, I'm going to make a simple hoop ring wreath. I took this small wood round I got in bulk off of Amazon. I will link that below, as well as a small snowflake from the Dollar Tree, and I gave them both a coat of antique wax, and I applied it with a baby wipe. Once that had all dried, I took some hot glue and I glued it to this plastic snowflake that I have had. It's actually a broken ornament that I had had since my childhood, and so I wanted to repurpose it. And so I glued on the one that I had antique wax to the top of it. And then I took one of these little gem stickers and put in the middle just to sort of tie in the plastic piece. And so then I'm going to layer that on top of the wood round, and I just use hot glue to attach that as well. Then we're going to set this aside and work on the wreath portion. So I took 2 of these hoop rings that you get at the Dollar Tree. They come in a pack of 3. There is one other that's a little bit smaller. So I took the 2 bigger of the 2, and I am basically just going to secure them together with some burlap ribbon and some hot glue. So I start by just applying some hot glue on the ring there, and then I'm going to fold over a piece of the burlap. And then I'm going to repeat that process on the top ring as well, and then fold the burlap and glue it down to the ring. And I'm going to glue it to the other one that I had glued, and I just do this several times until I pretty much run out of ribbon, just to make sure that it's good and secured. On the last one, I just fold the ribbon over, and then I do glue up and down the sides as well as across the bars. And then I just hot glue that down. And this worked really well to keep the 2 rings secured but spaced apart from one another. I just fell in love with this owl ornament I picked up from the Dollar Tree last year. I believe that they had them again this year. And so basically I just took it and I am just going to take out the red berries. For the greenery portion, I just take, this is actually one of those rolls of garland, and I just loop it together and tie it with a zip tie, and then I cover it with the fake snow. And then once that has dried and it's time to assemble, I pulled out some other things that I thought I might use and got everything together. I've got my snowflake there and my owl, and then I'm just trying to decide what I want to use where. I got this eucalyptus at Five Below, I believe, and it was on super clearance, and I wish that they had had more, but I did get 2 of them. And so I decide just to use this as well as the pine needles, and I just take and cut down 2 of these to be about the same size, and I just stick them through. Once I get them how I want them, I take another zip tie and zip tie it all together so that they will stay in there. And then I am going to also secure it with hot glue because it does wiggle just a little bit when you pick it up, because this is all the tighter I can get it without squishing the rings together, if that makes sense. And then I just sort of take the eucalyptus and spread it out the way I like it. And then I take my owl and I cut off the hanger on the top, and we are actually going to use that little piece of burlap to hang the snowflake to the top. I take the trusty hot glue gun and apply a whole bunch of it to stick the owl down. I then flip it over and take the hot glue gun and secure the zip ties as well as the greenery in several spots so that it will stay where I want it and not sort of flop around. I flip it back around to the front and do the same thing. Just secure a couple of the limbs around the hoop ring so that it will stay the way that I want it. I then fluff and glue the eucalyptus leaves, the ones that are backwards. I then take my little snowflake round and glue that piece of burlap to it so that we can use it to hang this. I took a piece of burlap and cut to length that I wanted to hang the wreath with. Then I fold both ends over so that they are nice and flush, and then I glue that together. I then also glue it to the burlap that is holding the rings together as well. but only on the back side, just the back side, and then the front side I leave loose. And then I take the snowflake on the burlap and I glue that to the back of my burlap ribbon, and that's it. I really like this. I think that this is probably my favorite project in the video. You guys will have to let me know what you think. It's super simple, but I just really love the way that it turned out, and I really like the way that it looks on my front door with the big glass window. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. This was a really fun project. So I took these small snowflakes from the Dollar Tree and I painted them white, and I just did the front and back. Once the paint had dried, I took some Mod Podge and gave them a good coat of Mod Podge. While the Mod Podge was still wet, I took some buffalo snowflakes and sprinkled on them very thick. I wanted these to really be covered. And then while I let that first side dry, I took the jar lid and traced around it on a piece of foam board, and then I cut that out just a little bit smaller. This is going to fit up inside. So I trim it until it is a size that will fit up inside the lid of the jar. Then I take and do Mod Podge and the buffalo snowflakes on the back side as well. I take some fishing line and thread through the hole in the snowflakes. First, I take a poker tool and poke out, because I did have Mod Podge and buffalo snowflakes in the middle, and so I do poke that out. And then I take a piece of fishing line and string it through the hole in the snowflake. And initially I was going to tie a knot, but I decided I didn't need to do that. So I just string it through, and then I take a poker tool and poke holes through my foam board. Then I take the fishing line and string it through and tape it to the other side. I then go back through and use the poker tool to do 4 more holes and apply the other 4 snowflakes the same way. You could also use a mason jar lid, but I really liked the color of this lid that was on this jar. But you could use a mason jar lid and make it just a little bit more permanent if you would like. Finally, I added a little bit of buffalo snow to the bottom of the jar and a tea light candle, and then placed my snowflakes on top and screwed on the lid. And there we go. We have a little Winter Wonderland in a jar. I'd love to know what you guys think. It's very simple, but I just love the way that the snow glitters. And so I thought that I was going to try to recreate that in a candle. Drop me your comments. What do you think of this one? This is a super simple DIY. Basically, no gluing, no nothing, no crafting experience necessary. I am just going to take some floral foam and I am going to put it in the bottom of this sled. And I say no gluing, and then I actually do glue my 2 pieces of styrofoam together, but you don't need to do that. I just happen to have my hot glue gun on, and so I glued those together, but you could cut a piece to fit, or they would be fine not glued as well. So I just take them and put them in the bottom of the sleigh. I then lay a piece of this fake blanket snow in the bottom just to cover up the floral foam. And then I go to town adding all of these winter style foliage and pine cones that I had picked up from the Dollar Tree, and possibly some of them came from Walmart. I'm not real sure, as they were already cut apart. And so I just add things until I like them. Just take the wire cutters, cut them down to the size, stick them down in the foam. Some of them I just set in the sleigh. And so this is really, you can customize this. You could put these in a basket, in a sleigh, in anything. And it really is just kind of a fun way to decorate up your space for very little money. This sleigh I just flipped this year. This was a childhood decoration that I remember my mom putting up every year. And so I just did a flip on it this year. And so it needed to live out a little bit longer this year. I wasn't quite ready to put it away with the Christmas decorations. So that's why I decided to include it and just add some winter style foliage into it and decorate it up and keep it out for a little bit while longer. So you guys will have to let me know what you think. Like I said, this is super simple. You're just going to cut the pieces that you like, stick them down in there, and I don't do too many and I don't do a lot. And super simple, super easy, fun way to add a little bit of winter charm inside your home. So here it is, all finished and sitting on my little end cabinet. So I would love to know what you guys think. Drop your thoughts below in the comments. All right, here's a quick final look at all three projects. So we have the wreath, and we have the Winter Wonderland in a jar, and finally we have the sleigh with some winter foliage. So I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch today. I hope that you have enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a wonderful day.